I really love fall because like I feel like I can freely give granny, you know. Like sometimes I don't want to give hot girl, sometimes I want to give granny and comfortable, you know. But anyways, so today I'm going to be telling you guys how I read so much. But before we get into that, this video is sponsored by Book of the Month. I have been working with Book of the Month for over a year now. I absolutely love Book of the Month, and now I'm just going to tell you a little bit about them. So, Book of the Month is a super popular and fast online growing book service. Their mission is to promote new and emerging authors and to help readers discover new books. Their team vets hundreds of books each month and gives readers their choice from a curated selection of new and emerging authors so that you can spend more time reading and less time researching. Book of the Month is risk-free, so you can skip any month at any time and you will not be charged. You have the best new hardcover fiction. You can get your first book for $9.99 using the code MYONNA, and I will leave a link to Book of the Month with the code in the description box. Now let me tell you about the choices for this month. Okay, I love the Book of the Month website because it literally just gives you a brief description of every book. The first book we have is A Little Hope, and this is a debut novel, an ode to the beauty of the everyday. This novel traces the lost loves and dreams of a small Connecticut town. This is contemporary fiction. The next book we have is a young adult book, and this one is Ren Scarborough is on a journey to impress the goddess of death in this riveting story of monster magic and reapers. I will be checking this out. And also the author is a debut author. This book looks good. She had a gun in her hand. This book is called The Collective. Hell hath no fury like mother scorn in this oplusive story of rage, injustice, and the limits of revenge. So this one is a thriller. And you know, I am very excited for their thrillers. So then we also have The Family, which is historical fiction. This is set in mid-century Brooklyn, a story of a decades-long friendship between two women bound by the sins of their fathers. And now the next book we have is a book that I am so excited for, and that is How to Marry Keanu Reeves in 90 Days. So this one is a romance book, and it's about two friends who take a wild road trip to stop the world's most eligible bachelor from making the biggest mistake, getting married. And I just want to read this book because it sounds like me if Timothy Chalamet or like any of my 80 celebrity crushes ever got married, unless it's like to one of my favorite people. Like when Pete Davidson and Ariana Grande got married, I was like rooting for it, but like Pete Davidson dating Kim Kardashian, I'm like, this better not go any further. You know what I'm saying? So it just sounds like something a fangirl would eat up. You know what I'm saying? Then I also have two add-ons. So this one is Will Smith's book, and this is his memoir, which I love Will Smith. He's one of my favorite actors. Of course, I grew up with him. So, and this one is My Body, and this one is a book of essays. Once again, thank you to Book of the Month for sponsoring the video. The link to Book of the Month and the code will be in the description box. And now on to the video. So, in this video, I will be telling you guys how I read so much, or like my reading routine. I did not write notes for this, so I'm just basically going off the dome, so like hopefully I don't forget anything. Long story short, I just listen to a lot of audiobooks, and I love reading. I feel like there are a bunch of different type of readers, but the reader that I am is someone who enjoys the experience of reading. That is why if I read a book and it's 2 stars, I can jump into another book so quickly, or if I finish a book, I don't get book hangovers. I can just jump into, like, I love the experience of reading. A little background story, I have been reading almost all my life besides I think 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. 6th grade is when I discovered Wattpad. I used to be reading everything under the sun, okay? I used to be reading Bad Boy, Good Girl. I used to be reading Player. I used to be reading the football captain. I mean, not captain, this football quarterback, the One of the Boys. When, oh my gosh, my favorite one, I still eat up to this day, is the one where the girl goes to live with a bunch of guys. I wish we could bring back like trashy like book tropes, and just like nobody judges them for being trashy, because I used to eat those books up and I would read them. And you know, those Wattpad books, they weren't like regular books. Like they would have like any kind of length, like they would be as long, and they would have like 8 different sequels, and it would be absolutely about nothing, and I would just sit there and I would read them all night. Okay, I would be up until, I've always had insomnia, like it like runs in my family, like my dad's side, so I would literally be up all night reading. Okay, I remember In 7th grade, my mom kind of took us to the library a lot. My mom is also a big reason why I read a lot. I used to hear her on the phone. She has this best friend that she talks to on the phone all the time, and they used to buddy read books. Essentially, they would buddy read books before buddy reading was a thing, and like they would talk about the books on the phone, or like we would go to my granddad's house and they would talk about these books with my step grandma. And I was like hearing my mom talk about her love for books. My mom does not read anymore. She be acting like I am such a nerd from reading. Like, girl, I got it from you. We did try to start a little book club where me, my mom, and my sister were gonna read Misery, and only my sister read it. Also, my sister's a big reader too, and I'll get into that in my journey to like reading. I feel like this is like not important, but I do also feel like it has a little bit of importance because it shows you that I've always been a reader. In 7th grade, I read my first full like real book that wasn't Wattpad, and it was called The Perfect Chemistry. I forgot the author, but it's like a popular like YA book. So if you know it, you know it. And I remember I read that book in 2 days, and to me, reading a book in 2 days, I thought I was the bitch. I thought I was that girl for reading a book in 2 days. Okay, and in 7th grade, you can't tell me nothing. And then 8th grade, I also read a lot, and I ended up winning a book nerd award. So that doesn't tell you something. And then 9th grade is, I was still reading Wattpad books up until then. I didn't start reading Wattpad books until I was like 17. Well, I want to say before then, because before Wattpad like became a fan fiction website, I want to say I was like around 15. So I was reading Wattpad books until I was like 15, and then I started to go transition into real books because, like I said, Wattpad had turned into like fan fiction back then, and there was nothing wrong with fan fiction. I was like there was fan fiction website. 9th grade, I think 9th grade I don't remember. I think I read anything in 9th grade year. 10th grade year, that's when I really started becoming like an avid reader. I was reading like The Fault in Our Stars. I read a bunch of John Green books. 10th grade year, I loved 10th grade year was when my sister introduced me to All the Boys I Loved Before. And I think also what helped me being a reader is my sister is also an avid reader. So I just always had somebody in my life that was reading. And me and my sister still read. She doesn't read as much because of college, but she still reads, and we just talk about these books together. And like, she'll like watch my YouTube videos for recommendations because for some reason she can't listen to me give her recommendations. So yeah, we were buddy reading to All the Boys I Loved Before. We shared one copy, and we would both like annotate it together, not writing it, but we would like highlight stuff together. And I discovered BookTube in like 2015, so that was like the year before I graduated. So that's when I really started reading for real. I've just always been a reader. Like, I've always been a reader. So that's one reason why and not saying like if you haven't always been a reader that you're never gonna love reading as much as I do, but I'm just saying, just to give you a background, that I've always loved reading. I'm not new to this, I'm true to this, you know what I'm saying? So I just love reading. I never get tired of reading. I'm a Virgo sun and Virgo moon, so if you know, you know. So basically, I feel like if I am not productive, that I have not done anything. So a lot of the times, to feel productive, I will read. So to feel productive, I'll read. Like and I also can multitask. So, but I won't say I can listen to music and read with nothing. And also I can watch TV and read, but I will only watch my favorite TV shows or movies I've seen before. But I can't really call that multitasking, because if I'm into a scene, like I'll stop reading to watch the movie, or I'll read but the movie or the TV show will be my background noise. So I can't really fully call that multitasking, but technically it still is multitasking. I feel like now into the tips, what you actually care for. I don't really think people care about like my reading journey. But now let's get into the tea. So I will read a book in all formats: physical, audio, and ebook. I have a Libby, so 9 times out of 10, physical doesn't really matter. I don't really read physical books as much. Like I read along with my audiobooks a lot of the time, but like, do I just sit there and read physical books? Like, I think I read like 5 physical books this month in like October. So I don't really know if physical books count, but ebooks and audiobooks. And I have Libro, Audible, Scribd, and Libby. I use Libby the most. I do have 3 library cards on Libby. So sometimes if Libby doesn't work, then I'll go to Scribd, and I can only use Scribd if it's not a new release. Just like I use certain apps, like if it's a new release, I'll go to Audible or Libro. I have it very much planned out. So you're probably like, why does this girl have 4 like audiobook services? I have like a use for all of them. Then Libby, I have 3 library cards, but sometimes them 3 still don't have everything, and sometimes they have holds. Sometimes them holds be forever. So, and with Libby, you can transfer your books onto Kindle. I also have Kindle Unlimited for my little romance books, you know that. And yes, so you can transfer books over to Kindle. A lot of the times, if I have an audiobook on Audible and I have it on Kindle, like with The Night Circus, I read it and it was reading the book to me. It was reading the ebook to me. So I did read it. I did listen to audiobook at work though. Anyways, for audiobook speeds, I usually do, if it's a fantasy book, I'll do 1.7, and then I'll work my way up to 2 times speed, and then I'll do 2.3. Usually 2.5 is where I leave it. I sometimes can do 2.7 sometimes, and then I can do 3 times speed, but that's if like the book is bad. I can't DNF books. So if the book is bad and I'm trying to get through it and I don't want to DNF it because I've already gotten like halfway through the book, and by that point I'm not about to DNF it because I just hate DNFing books. Also, I feel like that is why I also read so much, because I don't DNF books, which is nothing wrong with DNFing books. I have to get into it, but I feel like, okay, I already started the book. This is going to be counted as a book I want to read. Like if I hate starting and not finishing too many books. Basically just me, like I read every day. There's not a day, even if I just read 2 pages, I read every day. Before work, after work, while I'm watching YouTube, every day. Sometimes I'll even, like, I'm not saying I read like 3 books a day every day. Sometimes I give myself breaks as well. Sometimes I don't read for a week. Timber, I took a whole week off and I watched like a bunch of Netflix shows that I never seen before. Sometimes I'll take like 3 days off and I'll just watch some stuff and watch movies and watch Netflix and watch YouTube. Or some days I'll watch YouTube all day and at nighttime I'll read. I also have insomnia, which I think is a big factor as to why I read so much, because I'll just stay up and read all night. I don't know if that was helpful. Basically my tip is to read. It's not about how fast you read. It's not about how fast you can finish a book. To me, it's never about how many books I can read in a month. I actually hate reading too many books in a month, because who wants to sit here and talk about 40 books for 40 minutes long? I can't make the video too long, because who's gonna sit through 3 hours of me talking about books? You know what I'm saying? So I actually don't like reading too many books a month, but I love reading so much that sometimes by the end of the month I'm like, damn. And I also, not every month I don't read 30 books every month. I don't read 20 books every month. Some months I'll read 10 books. Some months I'll read 6, and I don't feel insecure about it. I'm not like, ugh, I only read, like if I say I only read 6 books this month, I'm just like, yeah, I only read 6 this month. It's never like, oh my gosh, I only read 6 books. I'm no one, because I know I can read 30 books if I want to. Like sometimes I'm literally just giving myself, it's about giving myself a breather, but also knowing how far I can push my limits. And I did not start off reading 30 books a month. When I first joined BookTube, I literally seen a Snapchat story that from 3 years ago, where it's like, oh my gosh, I just read 5 books this month, and I was so happy about reading the 5 books, and I still would be. And so, and I'm like, damn, I remember my first year on BookTube, I read like 15 books a month, and then one month I was like, if I can read 15 books a month, well, why not see if I can just read 30? And then after that, it went downhill from there. So to me, it's about, but also if you cannot read that much, do not force yourself to read that much, because I love the experience of reading. I love what I get out of stories. I'm not reading because I want to push through my TBR further. I'm not reading, well actually I am, but I'm not reading all these books a month because I want to say I read 40 books in a month. That's not, I don't care about how other people, if other people look at me like, oh my gosh, you read so much, what does that do for me? You know what I'm saying? I read because I love to. So don't read because you want to get to your reading goal. I mean, obviously if you want to get to your reading goals faster, then yeah, but don't pressure yourself to read. You know, if you try to read 20 books in a month and you can't do it, that's fine. That's fine. Go to your own speed. Don't feel insecure because you can't read a lot of books in a month, okay? Don't feel insecure because you don't read as fast as me. Do not compare yourself to me, because I'm not comparing myself to nobody else. So don't compare yourself to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, comparing yourself to other people and what other people are reading and what other people are doing mentally is not doing anything for you. So that's it for this video. Let me know if it helped. Let me know if in a few months from now you can read. But don't try to read, just randomly read 30 books in a month. Work your way up to it. And like I said, if you get to reading 15 books in a month and you're like, damn, I can't do this mentally, and you're not liking everything you read, don't force yourself to do 15. If my video had like turned itself off and I just sat here and I listened to the silence, and I'm like, I'm sitting here talking to myself into a camera. But anyways, that is it for this video. If you like this video, make sure to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys. I hate how I did that. And I'll see you guys in my next video.